In the immortal words of not immortal words, because that'd be like Sid. We should have started last pod with "We're live, pal," in memory of Sid. See, when you think after the fact, maybe we. Hey, E, do me a favor, record me saying "We're live, pal," and just upload it to the last podcast.
No.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we're live, pal. We are live right now, live in living color, man. I think this is. I don't even know what episode this is. Rhodesia, you are fantastic with episodes. What episode is this?
187 on Undercover Cops.
All right. Okay. Well, we're not doing that. It is episode 162.
161.
She is popping herself again. Yeah, no, we 162 of the TFW podcast, man. That's freaking wrestling, the best kept secret in wrestling podcast today. Shout out to our freaks out there. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys, all the supporters, day ones and the day zeros. Appreciate it, all that. We got, you know us. We are three the hard way. I am Matt. Rhodesia's in the house. Eshaun is in the house. Let's get right into it. Let's not lollygag around. We talked on the last podcast about our excitement level of Bash in Berlin. And I personally wasn't that excited for it just because it was what it was. What did you guys think of the show overall? Of course, we'll break it down. I do want to really kind of talk about that main event. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the main event. Thought there was some really good stuff in that, just from a storyline perspective, but more importantly, from a real life wrestling perspective that I want to kind of get into. But what was your guys' overall thoughts? Did it supersede your expectations? For me, it didn't. For me, it was kind of right in line with what I thought. I said it wasn't about the show. It was just, for me, the hype wasn't there. And the show kind of was right where I thought it would be. Definitely, in my opinion, missable. If you had to miss a WWE PLE, this was probably the one. It was like, okay, if you got to miss one, this is the one to miss. I think for the first time in my feelings in a long time, the AEW PLE in the same month as a WWE pay-per-view PLE, AEW was better. Thought All In was better than Bash in Berlin. But what was your guys' overall thoughts of the show before we start kind of going match by match?
I don't want to jump ahead, but I feel like overall, when we go over the matches, they all range either from a B- to an A+. So just saying that out loud, you would think like, oh my God, this was a great pay-per-view. But just like how I feel like my excitement for it leading up to it, it was just there. It's exactly what we knew was going to happen as far as you're going to have great matches. WWE is not going to put on a bad PLE. So that's just not going to happen. But it met my expectations of being a good show, but I'm not like, oh my God, I got to absolutely watch this over and over again. No, none of that at all.
Good show. Really good show. And it's what spoiled wrestling fans we are. We can say you had a card full of B- and A+ matches. Mm-hmm. And we say it's skippable. I went into it and
crazy.
But I love the main event. Like, we just some spoiled ass wrestling fans talk like that because this was a really good show. It was a very easy watch. It was on Saturday. It was only a couple hours and it went by really, really quickly. For me, you can't ask for more than that. I think it would be a big overstatement actually to say that the AEW PLE or pay-per-view was better than this one, to be honest with you. I think when you take the considerations of Saturday, it was easy to watch and all the matches were excellent and they had storylines that built something else. I say it was right there where it need to be.
All the matches were excellent?
Yes.
You don't believe that. You don't believe that.
I just feel there was more excitement and All In. Well, it was just more.
Yeah, it was their WrestleMania, right? So right. Yeah, we got the great energy. Entrances alone. For me, Swerve and Brian made that show better than what we got at Bash. Now there was also some matches that I didn't watch on All In. So if you wanted to say,
that's what I'm talking about. So we compare. I mean, like, we put everything together. Don't take out the stuff you didn't watch. Take the whole show for where it was. The excitement level going into it. You know, it was about there. I don't want to like say which one was better. They were both fine. I guess actually, if I were to take one or the other, I would take the WWE only because of time. Like, hey, you can only watch one of these. Which one are you going to watch? I would take the WWE PLE just for the time.
Okay, yeah, but I take AEW. But to your point about us being spoiled, we are. But that's also because we just get so much wrestling consumed every single week. If you wanted to watch wrestling 7 days a week, you could, and it would be all original content, right? So, but that's also why WWE is doing so fantastic, because with the great in-ring, they're also giving us everything that comes with it too. The production, the stories, you know what I mean? So that's why they're as hot as they are. But hell, Impact, you can get it from Impact. Like, you know what I'm saying? NJPW is still turning out some good stuff from what I see. I haven't seen NJPW for a while. But let's talk about the main event. Let's talk about Orton and Gunther. And first, I got to say, the Randy Orton entrance was, I can see that being a top 10 moment of the year for WWE. The way that was shot. If you've been to a WWE show, you've been there where Orton was the last out there and you heard the music like go over 3 different times. That was almost what we got. I was like, damn, Orton, you know, you still got to work a match. But for him, like I said, I enjoy him getting his flowers the way he is. You can tell he is legit enjoying it. So I really enjoyed that entrance. And I really have to talk about that match from a perspective of, for me, this was the most intriguing thing on the entire show while I was watching it. Because if you watched it, it felt like to me, they called that entire match in the ring. And calling matches in the ring is a lost art. I am sure they did not call the entire thing in the ring, but there was constant communication from Orton to Gunther in that entire match, to the point where I was like, all right, cameraman, like, the producer don't see, like, let's switch some cameras angles so we're not, yeah, man, like, so we're not seeing them calling everything. And then when the match was over, what this showed me was this was strictly Randy Orton making Gunther as big as he possibly could make him.
Indeed.
And to me, that's fantastic. That's one of those things where Orton evidently sees Gunther and is like, I can help putting that guy over. Let me get him and let's see what we can do. From the handshake, which I didn't see that coming at all, because that kind of makes Gunther look a little faceless. You know what I mean? Like,
Hold on, wait.
whatever.
I said that word about 100 episodes ago, and I got clowned. So you know, you
Let's
said
see.
it. You get
so
to
we
get
are
clowned
on
too.
episode
87 on a month.
Okay, there you go. Enough. All right. So, what you guys think about the match?
The match to me was actually the only match I really, truly, truly deep down care for. I'm on the PLE. The match itself was hard hitting. You mentioned about this being Randy Orton, one of the biggest entrances. I was gonna probably say, no, that's not right. I don't agree with you, but you're right, because when he came out, I almost felt like, oh, he about to break the record. He's about to get it. So evidently, had to be pretty awesome and full of pomp and circumstances for me to have that. Oh, there's no way Gunther's gonna lose. Versus, oh my God, I think Orton might take it here. I would never know about calling it in the ring. That is way over my head. I wouldn't even be able to understand it. I just know when I hear them talking or see them talking. But just a hard hitting match. I was a little scared, if that's the word I'm gonna use, going into the show, to see them work together. But man, I got what I paid for. I mean, that overall, that was just it was a main event match. So when you talk about, and we've been used to seeing either Cody or Roman in your main event. So to be able to get this as a difference of a main event, it lived up to that, and it felt like that. So for me, I absolutely was impressed with the Gunther and Orton. Absolutely, he put him over. And then just before I let you go, once again, Orton, why are you so damn big? He is huge.
Come on, all right, dude. All right, man. It's time to go on the fast, brother. And it's not because he's fat, but like, you just don't need to be that big. I know we've said that before. Watching that guy, I was like, all right, Orton, like, it's enough, man. He's saying he's 285. I believe he's a legit 285. It's cool, man.
I heard him say he was 290. So and I believe he's a legit 290.
Come back down to 260.
Yeah, I mean, over 40, you don't have to be that big.
Yeah,
that
like,
huge.
You big for no reason.
You massive.
Big for no reason.
Hey, sometimes when you get old, man, you need a little something extra to get you through.
Yeah,
man.
a little.
Some of that muscle might be to move some of the other stuff so it can work the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because like, if you get rid of some of that muscle, it might just fall out, man. Hey, that's how I feel some days.
Fall out?
Yeah, it might just fall out. Yeah, but it was a good match. I mean, it's exactly what we thought it was going to be. I mean, you can't. I don't think anybody thought that Randy Orton and Gunther would put on a bad match. Right. You would assume they're going to put on a hard-hitting, great match because, Randy is great in the ring. I think his style over the years has gotten a lot better for me because I like back in the day, I would say maybe like, in the early people were saying he was a great, ring general, but I felt like his matches were snooze fest, man. Like that style of wrestling that he had, Triple H had, Kane and all those dudes had was just not for me. Mm-hmm. I feel like he still wrestles a similar style, but he's added a little spice to it to where for me as a fan, it kind of makes it a little easier for me to digest. And Gunther, he's a nice guy. He's got some weak ass finishers, but
hold on, don't disrespect my man.
I did think about you, E, when he hit him with the sleeper.
Whack.
So where was that on your
whack.
whack Gunther meter? Was that a good one, or was that this is the wackest of the whack?
Man, that's terrible. He need to get at least a good 2, like maybe a good finisher and then like a nice little signature. All of this stuff just look basic. That's all. I don't say they whack. They just basic as hell, right? And for a top guy, you think he has something that looks a little bit more. You know what I'm talking about? I need to put that on the sound effect. We need to get Riverside correct. I don't need to say it myself. I want to hit the button, but he needs something to go a little more. When you hit it, you like, oh, okay, yeah, that's knocking some dudes out. But good match. And now you know what? I knew he was gonna be in for a treat when Randy came out there with the red draws. I'm like, oh snap, he got the honeymoon draws on. Okay, we know
he got the WrestleMania attire on.
Oh yeah, he had his wife in town with him too, so you knew what was up. So I'm like, okay, we gonna get a spry Randy snipe. We got that.
I thought I had that Randy behind me, the one in the red tights, but I don't see it. Just one real quick thing as far as what we were expecting. I had said that I was scared because that was the word I was using, because I usually don't like Orton matches because Orton is, again, an old school wrestler. He tells a story in the ring and it can be kind of slow for me. And then you have Gunther, who just like, he doesn't waste moves. Like, he's so efficient when it comes to that. And I was a little bit scared, but again, I mean, those two worked together and their dancing symphony was amazing for me. Again,
and they told a fantastic story with Gunther's hand being injured, and even the one spot where Gunther went for a pin, he couldn't use his strong hand, so he had to use his other arm to pin Orton. Like, that is psychology to the next level. That is paying attention to detail. That is not being able to see through your work. That is just tremendous stuff. So really enjoyed that match. I thought, like I said, and just for Orton, for him to get that spot and that spot to be all about Gunther, that's a big deal. Even him passing Orton out.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And maybe the bigger one, he allowed Gunther to kick out of the RKO.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I don't remember the last time somebody's kicked out of the RKO. There's been times where Randy has buried people with hitting the RKO, where he would hit it, taunt, slither over. It'd be like a 30 count. And it is still the 1, 2, 3. And I was like, damn, Randy, you could have protected my guy a little bit better than that. And here he let Gunther kick out of it. So just, I really enjoyed it. So kudos to those guys. I thought it was great for Gunther to be the face in the match because he's in his home country, but not play too much to the crowd. He was still him, you know, and that was kind of what I was wondering about, if he would have done a little bit too much out of his element, out of his character. He didn't. So bravo to them. I thought that was the match I most enjoyed on the show. And there wasn't anything I didn't enjoy. So even though I started by saying, you know, the show was what it was, it's because it was exactly kind of what I thought it was going to be. And predictable is not a bad thing. But you guys want to go to KO and Cody right now?
We're here. Might as well.
They started the show, so that was the writing on the wall. If there's anybody out there who bet on KO to win the championship, you know, there's some sites you can bet on wrestling. You were fucked at that point, buddy. When they were to open the match, Cody wasn't dropping it in Berlin, definitely in the opener. But even that, and I know he tried to hate on me last episode. He said, "Oh man, Matt think he know what he's talking about." That was almost to the T. Bushman put on YouTube, yeah, I don't listen to these pods anymore before these shows and Matt spoiling stuff. I ain't spoiling stuff. I'm just telling you what I think. And that match though went exactly the way I thought. I thought what I said in the last pod was going to happen, and it did. Still an awesome story. I thought the match was great. To watch KO fight with himself on, do I want to go there? Do I want to take it there against my friend to get the championship? And at the end of the day, he couldn't go there the way he wanted to. For me, the match was what it was. It was a good match. Actually, I mean, you can say good, great. It was worth watching. I guess my question, and you guys can talk about the match, do we see some type of rematch? Because Solo came out a few days ago and said he got next. Whoever wins, he's got next. So is it some type of triple threat with those three? Or are we back to Cody and Solo, and this was a one-off for KO, and he's out the title picture again?
KO hasn't held a single title in over 7 years. He better not. And I went on here like 5 episodes ago talking about how they bury KO over and 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 over again. And I got pissed. Actually, in the first 3 minutes of this match, I had this match marked down as an E. Actually, enough.
E for everything.
No, E for F. So I was angry in the beginning of the match. Yeah, I was so angry at the beginning of this match because, again, you already know how I feel about KO. Don't need to go back for that. Answer your question real quick. Is going to be Solo. I think they even mentioned it on the broadcast that Solo was next. But I hated how the match started. And again, I know I'm not an old school wrestling head in that regard where you have to change gears and go into gears and switch gears and you're telling the story. But I just felt in the first 4 to 5 minutes of the match, it almost looked like both of them were going through the motions. Again, I'm looking at it with a jaded eye because how I feel about Cody and how I also feel about KO, and I know what was going to happen here. So yes, I'm from a different perspective of kind of anger, but it was just like not good for me in the first 4 to 5 minutes. And when they were in that first gear, it actually looked bad. They actually looked sloppy. So I was gonna at that point make it an EF, right? If. But
I think you couldn't be more wrong. But go ahead.
But again, I just told you this is how I view my wrestling. This is how I consume my wrestling. How I take my wrestling. This is my wrestling fandom, mine. But as that match changed gears and it moved on, I ended up ranking that match as an A because I thought that it actually took me on the whole story. My only gripe about it was because it took too slow to get there. But again, I'm telling you, I could have been jaded just because I was angry at both people, or not even angry at KO, but just angry about KO. That's why I felt that way to start off with. But overall, I thought that match was a really good match. Still not better than a main event to me, but that was a really, really good match.
You know, I love on this show how Matt comes and gloats about something he's right about. But I never get props when I say anything correct on the show, which is typically more than not. I never give, hey, you know what, EU is right. Because I called this.
And put yourself over.
No.
If you have to. Put yourself over.
I don't need to.
Tell you.
Because the freaks know. The freaks know. My guys know, so I don't say it back. But I predicted how this feud was going to go from the start. I said it's going to be KO was going to be fighting with himself, and is he going to go back to the old him? And you know, you got pictures of Cody's baby giving him the mean mug and the
did you see that?
The photo?
No,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I told y'all what was going to happen with this feud, and we got that. So it was nice storytelling, right? Because it was a lot about what KO was going to do, right, or not do in the match, right? And so you could ultimately say in some ways, right? Because I felt like what did we just see? It's like, oh, the Will Ospreay thing, right?
Yeah.
About this,
it was
the
a
Tiger
lot.
Driver
the
number
Tiger
one,
Driver.
right?
It was
right. It was kind of like that, right? So if KO had, hit that power bomb on the outside, right? That might have been what turned the tides, and he could have been champion, right? So we could go back to seeing another match. Going back to that question, I mean, it's something we can kind of go back to because here's the thing about Cody right now: he doesn't have a story. Yeah. Like, right, he's just the defending champion right now. He's over as hell. Like, right, he comes out there. Like, I can't hear the crowd like cheering, but I hear them singing that damn song, man. And hey, I love that for Cody. That's like on the last. Like that's just not like I don't like that song for some reason. It's just not. It don't hit me as a fan, but I love that for him. It works out for him. But very popular. He doesn't have a story. Like he's gonna have a rematch with Solo. Okay. We know that this is just a side nugget until Roman comes back.
And that's the thing, though. Like, because I think he does have a story. Because we could talk about he's had stories all of his matches, right? He had a story with AJ, the reason why that match took place. He had a story with Solo, the reason why. He had a story with KO, but it's not a Orton Gunther. It's not a Punk McIntyre. It's not a Judgment Day. It's not a Bloodline. You know what I mean? Like
this is the Smallville villain of the week. Stories what he has, right? He's just there to conquer the big bad for the episode, right? He doesn't have that overarching bad guy storyline that he's kind of that's in the wings. That's for him, right? Like that's what Solo has. That's what we think The Rock may have when he comes back.
Yep.
Right. And once he gets to that, that's when his title reign for me will really start. Right? When he gets that big threat to his championship. That big story that he can kind of sink his teeth into. That's when his storyline is going to start. Until then, it's just going to be, the villain of the weeks. So we're going to have maybe a KO rematch, maybe a Solo one.
Well, so I don't want a KO rematch. In Rhodesia, KO's not being buried. I know what you mean by because he's not winning the big one, but when they made the comment of KO not winning a singles champion in 7 years, the first thing I said was, damn, they've done an incredible job of still keeping him super hot and at the top of the card, where he has not won a singles championship. So that's a kudos to him and the positions they put him in. Back to that picture, E.
I tried to find a picture. I can't find it.
My girl Lovely on X, she had one of the funniest, so that somebody had put the photo up. She quote tweeted and said, a black woman always gonna know an op when she see one.
I died laughing. I remember that. Yeah, she sure did.
It's even funnier, Rhodesia, when you see the photo, because she was looking at KO like, oh man, well, I don't trust his mother father.
But see, I trust KO over Cody. At least KO watches wrestling. But real quick, 2 things I gotta say. One, Eshaun, we gotta always put your own self over on this show. That's what we do here. That's how we move up this ranking of no longer being the best kept secret. We gotta put our own selves over. If you can't do it in yourself, then why would somebody else do it for you? And 2, you kind of didn't say this. You kind of borderline saying that KO was going to turn heel possibly. And I was begging at the end of that match, like, please, KO, don't turn heel. Don't turn heel. Don't turn heel. So I would put you over, but you was kind of wrong in that one. And in the
Put
KO
him over halfway. Put him over halfway.
Okay,
I didn't say KO was going to turn.
Okay, kind of. If we go back to a couple episodes ago, the question came up, and he was like, "Yeah, because I definitely see KO turning heel, and then blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "No,
it was more. So, it was. We were talking about Randy Orton. I said I would rather see KO turn heel than Randy Orton. I would rather see Randy Orton continue to be like the flag bearing. Like if he, because here's the thing about Randy Orton, his fandom right now. Like he's always gotten huge pops. I want to say a couple years ago, I went to a live show, and he got the biggest reaction out of everybody. Like right, and he was playing the heel, so he's always gotten huge reactions. I think now in the past couple of years with all the injuries and he's getting up there in age, I feel like he really appreciates and sees like how popular he is and how much love he has from the crowd. He's always had big love from him. So I'd rather him continue to be like that grizzled veteran face. So I'd rather see if someone has to turn, I'd rather be KO than Randy. So I didn't say specifically in this feud because I just don't see it right now for them because it's like Cody has some other stuff to do. Like if KO would have turned right now, like I feel like it would be a bigger story for them to have than it'd be like a side nugget. That's all it would be at this point.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't turn 100%. Remember, I was begging for them not to turn KO, and I'm glad that Solo has put his stake in the ground that he's next and has nothing to do with Solo. Has all to do with Orton. Because now I know that means Orton is not next for Cody. Remember, I was worried about Orton going back to SmackDown and
I'm trying to follow along. What happened now?
I'm glad that Solo has said, hey, I got next.
Okay.
Because my worry was Orton goes back to SmackDown with sour grapes because he gave KO a shot and I'm your best friend. I've been here. had your back. You didn't represent for me. And then he turns heel. And I'm glad that we are not getting that feud. We were right about the women's championship match. Probably to a T of how we thought the match was going to turn out. Match was good. It was a good match. I do have a question because it was what it was. We said what was going to happen. It happened. So I didn't get a chance to watch the show live, of course. I watched the show super late Saturday night. So I wasn't on social media at all. I was able to get on just a little bit Saturday night. And I saw a lot of conversation around Jade's performance during the match and as a whole. I'll just ask you two, where is Jade at in regards to her progression since signing with WWE? Would you say she is significantly better, she's a little better, or she hasn't gotten better at all?
I'll probably have to land in that middle because when I was watching them last night, and by the way, I think Bianca, we didn't even look it up. I think Bianca made Jade's outfit because it just looked really Bianca-ish, but it looked fantastic. I was in the middle of the match and I'm like, this match isn't, I'm about to say it wrong. Like the match isn't clicking as fast as I wanted to, but I never thought for a second that, wow, it's Jade. This is her rookie year. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it was more like okay, they got to find the flow of figuring out the match in the beginning or when she got in the ring, they got to kind of feel the flow. I never once thought that this was Jade that was in the ring, got to feel the flow. It was just like, oh, they got to kind of feel each other out. So for me, that means she's progressed a lot because I already gave her the luxury of being just a regular full-time wrestler who's been wrestling for some years. But crazy advanced. I think when they lost the championships, I felt like some energy on them kind of got pulled back. Maybe some opportunities for Jade to develop even more kind of was pulled back. But I guess that also just showed her to try to build on her character itself. I probably would have to still lean in the middle of she's progressed. But if I was forced to pick one of those sides, I probably would say maybe she's progressed a lot, because by comparison, the 6, 7, 8 months versus 3 years is night and day.
She's definitely night and day better than she was in AEW. I feel like when I see like a lot of that discord about Jade and guys or gals that went to WWE, I feel like that's just the AEW haters that come out. Because I can say it now. I wasn't going to say it then because I didn't want to sound unsupportive because Jade's my girl, but she was actually bad in the ring in AEW. Her matches weren't good. And I'm not really into match flow, and I don't analyze the matches and stuff like that like Matt does or any of those other guys. I kind of simply just watch if it's enjoyment or not. And like, but I can see a lot of times in her matches that she's counting steps, or I can see like she's like a step slow, or she was in the wrong position. I can see like if for me, and I'm not looking for that kind of stuff, but I can see it in her matches that she's either she's not in the right spot, or she got there too early. Or you could hear her, or you could visually see her mess up a spot. Like you could see that, and this was like match after match, year after year. So right, so just from that alone, she's a lot better. Like right now, she's ready to be a main event wrestler. Like sure, why not? Because we had Ultimate Warrior as the main event wrestler. We had Goldberg as the main event wrestler, and them dudes made millions and millions and billions of dollars in the industry. So she's on pace to being where she needs to be in that regard. But yeah, she's much better in the ring than she was a couple years ago.
Matt, when you say that there was a lot of discord going on, what were people saying?
She's the same. She's the same worker she was day one.
Ooh.
She's still not good. She's still not as good as she should be or she can be. She's dragging Bianca down. This has been a waste of Bianca's time with having her tag with her for this entire year, that kind of stuff. It was a lot of that.
Wow.
And what I will say is there can be some validity to she's not where she maybe should be. And I am only saying that because I think she's improved. I don't know if she's improved a ton in regards to, so she's getting, we're seeing her sell more. She never sold in AEW. But some of the things that I've always kind of seen with Jade creeps up a little bit. And that is my girl smiling when stuff is happening in the ring, when she shouldn't be smiling. Jade, I know you're having a good time. But damn it, stop smiling right now. It's not time to smile. You see a little bit of that. You see there was one spot where she went to do the taunt. It wasn't the time to taunt because Bianca didn't taunt back. And then she kind of did it, and she kind of did it quick, and then she kind of moved on. So there's still a lot of thinking. And I guess so where some of the pieces that can be valid comes from is if she was, I guess we have to look at this as, Rhodesia uses the word rookie. Maybe we have to look at this as she's a rookie.
Yeah, she is.
But she's not a rookie.
But
yeah, she's only had 100
WWE.
matches, I think. I think she's only legit worked 100 matches total in her entire career. Back in the day, you was hitting 100 matches in your first year, right? So from that perspective, yeah, absolutely shooting her all the bail. But I can see, like, I don't personally believe, like, she hasn't gotten better. She's absolutely gotten better. But I can see if somebody who is truly giving a fair take and either not an AEW lover and a WWE hater or vice versa, or whatever that looks like, I can see somebody saying, you know what, I thought she would have been a little bit farther along than she is right now. Because she's still really only in tag matches where she's getting the hot tag. Now her hot tag is becoming pretty strong.
It is.
And then that's an art and that's a skill to the hot tag.
Isn't it skill though to the person who's giving the hot tag though? I mean, yeah, you got the energy behind you. You got people wanting anticipation, but isn't it the people in the ring first going at it that's building that up? Isn't it more on them to get you that hot tag than the
yeah, I mean, well, you got to build the heat for sure. 100%, you got to build the heat. But when you get that hot tag, you got to cash it in.
You got to bring
she
the
does
offense.
a really good job of cashing it in. Yeah.
You know, you got to bring the offense. You got to bring the energy. And that's the thing about it, too. Like, I'm trying to be delicate because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Not on this show, of course. A lot of the people that we interact with online, they watch wrestling totally different than the average viewer does. Like a lot of the things that you mentioned, Matt, that you see and that people are saying online, like I would probably say the average fan wouldn't see those things, like the smiles and all of that.
Right.
They ain't looking for all that kind of shit, like really, right? It's just basically if the match is good or not, right? Like is what's happening in the is the action in the ring, is it good, right? Like a lot of the in between stuff that we talk about, like the details, like a lot of people don't have their eyes on that kind of stuff, right? Now the stuff that we were seeing in AEW, like those things were obvious wrong. Like, right? Because again, I'm not looking for that kind of stuff. Like when she's tripping over her feet in a spot, like you can see that. Like, right, when something happens when you go, you effed up, like those are obviously like wrong things, right? Like nothing's happened that's obviously wrong in her matches, right? Like their matches, like she probably was at a point to where they kind of probably had to kind of hit the reset button. Like, all right, we're gonna start from scratch. Like, hey, I know you've been doing this for 3 years, you have 50 matches or whatever it was. We need to hit the reset button. We need to train you our way, get you a little better. And she's progressed. She's gonna be just fine. Like she's in a tag. She's the hot, like you like when I watched that match, like and I wasn't super attentive in the match, I'll be honest with you. But when I watched that match, Bianca was doing a lot of like the selling. Like, right, it was a lot of beat downs, and they were building heat, just for her to kind of come in and get her stuff off, right?
Yep.
Right, that's what her matches are, and I think she does that, and she's just fine with it. Now, is she ready to do the main event matches? Again, we've seen people with far less skill in ring go on to have long, luxurious, money-making careers. She'll be all right.
The last match we hadn't talked about yet, and I said it was like a house show special, and I'll be damned if that was not a main event house show match. They brought all the bells and whistles out, and the match was good. Of course, Terror Twins and Liv and Dom. A little surprised of how much offense Dom got in on Damian. I was surprised about that because I don't think anybody really takes Dom serious. And if, the match is going to be Finn and Damian, okay, I felt like maybe Damian could have looked a little bit more dominant than he did, but they beat the hell out of Judgment Day. Like at the end of it, I was like, yo, this is like 12 on 2.
That's dominant there for you. Damian
Sounds like,
dominant.
well, I guess that's what it is. No, another fun match.
Yeah.
Rhea is just such a star, man. Like she is watching that match. And I said it out loud. I'm like, I wonder what they have scheduled right now for her for WrestleMania, because she's there. She's absolutely there. What'd you guys think about the match?
I'm just gonna say fun for all the reasons that you just said, as far as them going back and forth. Everybody was able to get physical. I love how Mommy was able to get some off on Dom too. I mean, overall, I thought it was just fun. Don't know if I liked at the end that they being Terror Twins being so dominant amongst just the numbers of people. Like, was it 5 of them to 2 of them, or how many ever? That to me again, but it's suspension of disbelief. I get it, but fun, just a fun match.
Okay. I don't really have a lot to add. The match was what we expected it to be. Like, right? I feel like Dom had to get some offense in there because I feel like he and Liv both are like the underdogs, right? Like they're both smaller. Like, right? So it's a mixed tag match, men versus men, women versus women. Like Dom is obviously smaller than Damian, right? Liv is obviously smaller than Rhea. Like Rhea's beating up dudes, right? So she should be able to beat this girl up too. So like he had to kind of get some offense in there because who else is going to get some? The match went exactly the way I expected it to go.
Yeah, I think they had 2 different finishes that they could have won with. One of them was they could have went with Priest taking the pin from Dom with Finn's interference to set up their match, or it could have been what we saw, Rhea pinning Liv to set up their match, and then that's the one they went with. So I thought it was good. You know, it was, once again, it was what it was. And I know he's done a ton, and I'm only talking superficial, because I am sure that man has brought WWE so much money and so many business partners and so many things that they would not have done or even looked at doing if he wasn't there. But Nick Khan, one of the things he has to be more than applauded for is these international shows, Saturday or Sunday. We like it on Saturday because it works better for schedules and things of that nature. I'm only looking at location. And because that's the kind of show, Bash in Berlin is the kind of show, if it is in a regular, normal city in the United States, it doesn't come across nearly as big as the show is and was. For them to continue to be able to go to these international places and them trying to one up the last place they went is a tip to the cap to them that was not in the playbook or the tool book a couple years ago, and they're using it now, and it's come across with a lot of these shows so much better on television.
You're like in my head, because this is exactly what I was going to mention. You said we should applaud Nick Khan for all these international shows. So my question to y'all is that, because we're having all these international shows, and now some of these international shows are not in this bubble that they used to be in, like how Crown Jewel didn't really matter. Yeah, we said the show was missable, but we're seeing more and more of these. The elephant in the room is, when is Mania going abroad? Do we see it soon? When it starts happening, will it continue happening more often? I personally feel like I want to gatekeep it because it's something super, super special to us here in the States. But even just saying it out loud makes me sound like I'm just like an entitled USA brat. But what are y'all thoughts of when we're going to get Mania out of the country? And then does that open the floodgates for it to just continually to be 2 out of 10 years, 3 out of 10 years abroad?
Isn't the next Mania going to be in London?
They haven't announced yet. We got Vegas next year. They haven't announced 2026 yet, but there was a lot of talk when they went over to London for something that they're making a play for WrestleMania. And I was somebody that
Money
I'm
in the
like,
Bank,
nope.
I think, right? Oh, that's Toronto. Never mind.
And it's always going to be in the United States. You can have everything else, right? But I was always like, Rumble, SummerSlam, Mania is always going to be United States. I don't think that anymore. So I think it may be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think it's going to be sooner. I mean, it's a lot of talk. I thought we were already here with it, so.
And
so we know we know we have Indianapolis, right? They announced like they're getting the major 4 or 3.
And is it Minnesota supposed to be getting it? Wasn't that the whole issue? That they said
they're getting the 2-night SummerSlam.
Okay, SummerSlam, got it.
Yep. And then there was a rumor about Philadelphia getting it again. I'm like, they're not going back to no damn Philadelphia. I don't know. People got their hopes up. It's like, did y'all not remember those folks was allegedly in 40-degree weather in April? They're not going back to no damn Philadelphia. That was from the old tenure. They ain't going back to Philadelphia. Sorry, anybody from Philly. Y'all not getting to WrestleMania anytime soon. My bad. Unless y'all get a domed stadium, y'all eating that. And your Eagles aren't going to be that good either this year. How about that? So yeah, but I do think it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Let's talk about NFL right now. We're here.
It is this week, baby. We are here. Excited for Thursday. But yeah, so I feel you though, Rhodesia. But also too, because we go to the majority of WrestleManias. That's why we feel that way. I'm not trying to go to London. Not trying to go, like, I don't want to go nowhere else. And I won't, probably, to be completely honest. So I'll just be watching it at home and waiting for them to come back. But the opposite side of, so I just bigged them up for taking these shows international. The opposite side though is these shows are so damn expensive now because they're a premium ticket, along with WWE being so hot. Like, they came out there, and I guess my man was speaking German, where he announced, the biggest gate in
for
arena history, and the crowd is popping. I'm like, no, unless you are WWE, unless you are a shareholder of that company or you work there, that's not something to be happy about. That means next time they go there, ticket price is going to be even higher.
They're going to outprice the little person. Just like how I feel about these NFL tickets too. Even though I just put them over, I'm about to bury them again. The cost of going to a Lions game. You couldn't even give out preseason tickets. You couldn't even give them out. People weren't about to go down there and park.
Preseason. At one point, you couldn't give out regular season tickets for the Lions when we had season tickets. Check this out. So they send me an email, right? The Lions do. Hey, last minute tickets for first game at home, Los Angeles Rams, Sunday Night Football. I'm like, for shits and giggles, let me go on and let me just see what these prices are. I click on there, Ticketmaster. I'm like, nope, I don't want to go to verify resale. I want the ticket prices that Ticketmaster selling. I don't want to see
this is
no
the regular price. This is just like
regular weed.
regular
weed. Okay.
Got it.
$150 for one ticket. That was what I was spending for an entire season back in the day, season tickets.
Wow.
And they're going to sell out. When
Just
you're
like
hot, same thing. When you're hot, it doesn't matter, I guess. That's crazy. So kind of you don't want them not to get as hot anymore.
Yeah.
I'm good watching TV. Spend $3 to watch my shows, and I'm good.
Crazy talk. I saw your boy E. I didn't get a chance to watch I didn't watch any of the press conference. I only saw just a little clip. Cody Rhodes gets held down in court. I don't know if Triple H wasn't there, but they said he took like Triple H's spot in the press conference afterwards. I guess he announced that Raw is debuting on Netflix in January 6th. I think they need to go all in and make that a stadium show somewhere. I think they could pull it off.
They're going to get it.
I think they could pull it off if they did it right. I really do. I mean, it would have to be a massive main event for sure. But I think they could pull it off. And I think that would be a hell of a look.
And that wouldn't step over Rumble?
No, because they're hot right now.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? We just talked about it. They're hot right now. Where's the Rumble going to be at? They announced it already, didn't they? I think, I know they announced it.
I'll put it up.
Yeah, but what would you do? What would you guys do if this was your company? Would you say to hell with the brand split week one and put the biggest show you could possibly put on Netflix? Or do you still try to stick to the Raw roster and then put on the biggest possible show you can?
Real quick, Royal Rumble is in Tampa Bay, January 27th, 2025.
Tampa Bay. Okay.
I'm lying to you. It's February 1st. Hold on. I'm going to come back. Let me finish answering your question.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm going to come back. I still feel like it needs to be Raw, but okay, I'm going to give you a pass to do something. I don't want to say just F the brand split, but I do want it to be still like a Raw show, because I said this a few weeks ago. I don't want then that the Raw to be it. And then now SmackDown is going to be what it was back circa 2005, 6, 7, all like that. I don't want that to be the secondary show. We have two solid shows.
Only that one episode. Only that one episode.
Oh, then yeah, you can bring out everybody. You can bring out legends. You can bring out everybody. You can have it as a 5-hour show for all I care.
I don't want that. Yeah.
But definitely, if it was me, I would make that show, that debut show, as big as possible, because what you're doing on that first show, right? You're trying to build like a habit, right? Because like now people are used to what for the past 80 years we've been watching, Raw on USA, right?
1993, right? I think it was 93 or 94 it debuted.
Yeah. Yep. We started watching it at 9, then we had to get a habit of watching it at 8, right? So we have a history of watching this show. Now we have to watch it on a different platform. So now we need people who don't have Netflix to get Netflix, right? And just getting used to people just hitting that app versus turning that channel. That's going to be different. So to entice people to do that, make that show. Maybe make that second show as well, right? Mm-hmm. As big as possible. Mm-hmm. Like the brand split needs to be here to stay, because you got to give people a reason to watch these shows, right? Because like if you're watching super shows on Raw, I don't care how hot it is, Friday night is still Friday night. It could be a skippable night, right? Definitely the brand split needs to be there, but yeah, have a couple of super shows there. Have some TNA and NXT talent pop up on the show. Like make some announced dream matches, right? And they don't have to be like Mania matches. They can be like some rematches that we've already seen, but you can build to them on that show and just get people hype on watching Netflix and Raw.
I really think if they did it right, they could pull it off. I do, in terms of stadium, for sure. I got one last question around like WWE PLEs, and then we can move on.
Real quick, before you do that.
Ask the question, yes.
Before you do that, so to be clear, WWE Royal Rumble 2025 will be in Indianapolis.
That's what I thought.
Lucas Oil Stadium on February 1st.
So I remember I was thinking about going.
Also, just so you know, you can place a deposit right now for priority pass of bowl seating and floor seating, just so you know. And a pre-sale for a pre-sale. You got a pre-sale for a pre-sale for deposit holder purchase. Okay. How do you have a pre-sale for a pre-sale?
I can tell you don't buy tickets.
I'm livid over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's normal. It's been normal for years when it comes to those big shows.
I think I'm gonna give Peacock an extra $2.99 now to reserve.
Please don't say that out loud.
My seat on the couch for Royal Rumble.
Because this price hike at Netflix ain't gonna be no pretty. I know it ain't gonna be pretty.
They announced they were gonna. Oh Lord,
you'll see. The question I had for you guys around WWE PLEs was word came out that Triple H and WWE loves the current format of 5 to 6 matches, shorter PLEs because it allows them to still stack Raw and SmackDown with big matches. And there was a lot of blowback online for that. If we were paying full price for pay-per-views, I get it. We're not. The PLEs are still strong, and we have sat here and talked about how Raw and SmackDown have been better than it has been in a long, long time. I have no problem with them keeping everything being the way it is. Outside, of course, of Mania, stacking those shows with much more matches. But what's your guys' thoughts about them keeping the same format of, 5 matches on the majority of these PLE shows to keep Raw and SmackDown strong?
I've had the luxury of being a WWE fan for 23, 4 or 5 years. So for me, I've seen it where we had the 8, 9 matches on a card. I've been to shows where there was that many. And coming from a place of experiencing that and going through that, I cannot tell somebody you're wrong for feeling that way if you went to the show and you paid your hard-earned money. And remember, now they're taking deposits on deposits. So if you spent a house note to go see a show, you probably do want to see more than 4 or 5 matches. But as far as for everyone else who's just watching it, and like you said, the PLE is being on Peacock, I absolutely like this format. The problem that we had before, too, was that you had the same people when it was like Raw and SmackDown on top. And that's all you ever got to see. I remember kind of when it was when they went the brand split. I forgot what they call it. Like, why am I saying affiliation? Something, what was it a term when Shane and Steph went on their own? Whatever. It was like before corporate McMahon's. But point is, I used to always get irritated because we only saw the same 2 people on this show, same 2 people on that show. Now that they've had a way to be able to have a lot of people make sense and have meaningful stories, I don't need to see these PLEs stacked like that. I just don't. I've been through it. I felt it. I've seen it. And for those who are going to these shows who's paying $350 a ticket, who wants to see more than 5 shows, I get maybe you're mad about that. But in general, for the masses, keep it this way so that now we leave or we stop watching wanting more, because there is already so much wrestling out there. So if we are watching the end of your show and we're like, wow, that was a good PLE, and I'm just satisfied, I'm not overfed or overfilled, that's perfect. Keep it that way. Don't mess that synergy up.
I think it'd be an awesome case study to see why wrestling hardcore fans complain about every fucking thing in the world, man. It's just amazing. That's why that's why y'all don't really see Big Daddy. And I got another question for y'all. I listen to y'all call people mommy. Y'all call Big E, Big E. I don't know why people have a problem with calling me the street name of Big Daddy.
Like, because you already switched your name.
I'm somebody daddy. Well, see, you know what? I've been going by Big for so long. I've only been fit for a couple months now. Yeah, that's even been a couple months. It's been maybe like a month and a half. I got back fit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't understand. So you can be called another grown woman mommy. We cool with that. But you ain't call the biggest of the daddies daddy. I mean, I
only call one man Big Daddy.
Tell him, baby cakes. And the problem is, I am sure Big E is not in the text thread with Woods and Kofi calling himself Big E.
They call him Big E. They have no problem
Rhea,
calling that man
not
Big
in
E.
the text, they don't.
Yeah, this.
In the text, you be like, I ain't even gonna, man, whatever.
I want to see. Look,
if you want to do that, God bless.
On our
text, and I'll bet it say Big. God bless. That's big. Say Big E in the contact.
How about this? If Katrina can come on this show and tell me with a straight face she calls you that, I will have no problem with you calling us that in your text thread. But until your wife comes on here and does not say that, no.
Matthew, yes? I gave that woman 2 boys. You don't think she called me Big Daddy?
I don't think I've never once heard her call you Big Daddy.
Huh? You don't
Been
think
knowing y'all for 20 dude, I've been knowing y'all for 20
years. You don't
years.
think she said Big Daddy quite a few times, huh? You don't think that? You
so.
know how it go, baby.
I don't think so.
I've been called an N-word a few times in my life. That don't make me an N.
I don't know. Sometimes some of the things you say, I don't know.
He and you with an ER too. Hard R. All right, cool. So Wole's question. He had a question, and I was going to ask. I wanted you guys to say it. I was going to respond, and I said I can't respond because it would be like I'll be typing all night. His question was, do we think Britt Baker would be better off or would be better, not better off? Would she be better in WWE? Would Britt Baker be better in WWE?
I actually responded to that. I was proud of myself.
Saw it.
I'm about to put myself over.
Pull it up.
I don't usually do.
Do you
I remember what I said. I
Okay.
I don't need to pull it because then it'll be taking me forever. You know how I am with technology. It'll take me forever to find it. I just said I think that the majority of people will be better in WWE.
I do have a quick question. Sorry to cut you off. Can
Yeah.
you please tell us? Because first you said Royal Rumble was in Tampa.
Yeah.
And then you said it was what years were that?
I think this past year, right? Was it this year?
Because we know you watch stuff on DVR. You watching old SmackDowns and old Battle of the Belts. I would like to know whatever information you pulled
I don't know.
up.
Actually, I don't know if it was in Tampa. When?
God
I don't know
bless.
when it was.
All right.
Was it ever in Tampa? Who knows? Actually, who knows? But what I'm just saying that I think not anybody, the majority of people will be better in WWE. Somebody who has had ring experience, someone who has a look, someone who can talk on the mic. You put them people in the machine, you will be better. Now, the question would be, where would she feel better at? That's a different question. But for what we have in Dr. Britt Baker, yes, she would be better in WWE.
I didn't reply only because I wanted to answer it on the pod. Content providers as we are. But I think talented people are going to be talented. I feel like Britt's one of those. She can go to any company. She can go to TNA. She can go to Stardom. She can go anywhere. And she can be valuable and she be pushed to the top of the card because she has all the it attributes, right? Now, I don't think she's the greatest in-ring wrestler, but I think her ring work is just fine. Right? And then if she has the right opponent, it could be really good. But as far as a promo ability, the it factor, she's a beautiful woman. I mean, she has all the tools to be great anywhere she goes. Would she be better to utilize in WWE? Maybe, right? At least for the short term, she would be. Because, right, I'm sure she would go there. They will put her at the top of the card, right? I don't think she would even stop at NXT at all. I think she would immediately show up on SmackDown or Raw. And I think she would rock out on the microphone. Now, I don't know if all the drama that we hear about in the back room with her is true or not, but I definitely know that the vets in that locker room in WWE wouldn't be having some of that shit, right? And I think that would probably make her better. So you got, Natty, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think, to me, I don't think she's in the locker room as much as she wants. I'm not sure if she's being signed again, but even like Bianca, like these are Bailey, like I feel like they will kind of help her from a backstage perspective, right? But I think she'd do really, really well there. But there are certain talents, to Wole's question, that probably would thrive in a different environment, right? I feel like Brody Lee, God rest his soul, when he went to AEW, that character would have never been in WWE, especially at the time when dirtbag Vince had the books. I think even Triple H probably wouldn't have given life to that character that he had in AEW, right?
Not to the level, for sure.
Not to the level, right?
Yep.
MJF, I think, is another guy who will be great on either show. But I think that Britt Baker and MJF, I think they're good where they are because their talents are needed. Like, right? Because, like, AEW is where the best wrestles. Okay, cool. But they don't have enough people that have that it factor that can rock the microphone. Like, to me, like, Britt Baker was destroying, like, Mercedes on the microphone. Right? Because that's her thing, though. She has that edge to her. She has that bite. All her promos have that. And I feel like that's a show that needs that diversity. So I think she's good where she is. But would she rock it out in WWE? Of course she would.
So when I say, do you think Britt would be better in WWE? I think I may have just said yes and no, and I'll have to expound on the show. Could be a cop-out answer, but that's how I feel. Yes, from a perspective of she's going to be a bigger star, probably. She's going to learn more there, and she probably has an opportunity to right now in her current environment. So that's the yeses. The no's are because I think she gets lost in AEW. I don't think she's as big of a star in WWE as she is right now in AEW. I don't. And that match, and yes, it could have been a one-off, but the match with Mercedes kind of showed me a lot in regards to that. This is still the biggest show.
Not the one with Anna Jay?
Which one? Which one, Anna Jay?
You remember that match with Anna Jay?
Was it Britt and Anna?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At the house show?
Okay,
You don't remember that?
No, the house shows, man, was meant, those 3 house shows was meant for them to get better. Okay, don't do that. But oh my God, yes, you're right on that too. Actually, man, you know what? All right.
Didn't Britt and Anna Jay have that hardcore match that was great?
No, I'm sure they didn't, but hardcore matches don't count.
You said no.
Because they like the hardcore
really
matches.
don't. Like, they really don't.
They don't count when it comes to in-ring and psychology. Yeah, like,
I guess there's a psychology to it because, like, we're not
is.
workers.
That is a psychology with it. Yes, it is.
But there's a lot of like bells and whistles that go into that match that can kind of hide stuff, right?
Damn, I forgot about that match, dude. I forgot about that.
That's when y'all be talking about. Like, people talk about how good of. I mean, we can't unsee.
But I thought that was a one-off. I thought that was like, okay, everybody has a bad night. We even got on the pod and was like, look, we're not going to like completely shit on them, but man, like, people still pay to see that match. You can't really put that in front of the paying audience. And a lot of that I thought maybe was Anna Jay. Now I know it wasn't just Anna Jay.
It wasn't just her.
So Wole, if I had to say yes or no, I'm going to say if you take her right now, this moment today, and put her in WWE, no, I don't think she would be better. Day one. Now, maybe come month 3, month 6, month 9, month 12, month 24, maybe. But right now, and you put her in, I don't think so.
Month 124.
Yeah.
That's a long ass time, baby.
There you go. We also had another awesome question too. Our guy Joe Davis 2500 on YouTube. He said, "I got an idea. Talk about y'all favorite Cash Money records, songs, and albums on the next episode." What's some of your favorite Cash Money records or albums?
So I guess I can't use Young Money, right?
Throw Young Money. I mean, you can throw Young Money in.
I think all of them early Young Money songs, albums hot. And I was actually talking to somebody the other day about, we were talking about Wayne. And I was saying that Wayne didn't really hit super stardom until Millie.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was Millie, the same
Carter,
album as
the Carter.
That was Carter 3.
Not the first Carter. He was not a superstar in the first Carter. He was a superstar at Lollipop. Which Carter was that?
He was a superstar at Lollipop.
That was Carter 3.
Okay, yep. That is correct. I remember seeing him in concert, and he did the one song with Game. He did the hook. My eyes of my life. And I remember he was singing it, and it was the camera shot that they had. I just remember watching him, and I said to Rhodesia, I was like, he's arrived. He's finally here. I've been on Wayne since The Block is Hot. Right? So I remember him from way back then. So for me to kind of see when he finally got to that point and the response, and you always can tell too, when they be like, hey, where my day ones at? Let's play something for my day ones.
Oh,
and
I can't stand them.
You be like, yo, this is 5 albums in, man. Like, this ain't day one. I know it's day one for the masses, but this ain't day one, dude. If you ain't played A Block is Hot, get the hell out of here. Give me some I Need a Hot Girl. That's day one.
Dun, dun,
you know what I'm saying? Give me some of that.
Dun.
So, but okay, so you going Carter 3. Rhodesia, what you going?
My favorite song of all time is probably, outside of anything Michael Jackson and maybe 50 Cent, would be Back That Ass Up. Okay, so that's it. So I could be in the
old Negro spiritual.
It is the old Negro spiritual for sure. So this is probably one of the times that he said that they probably called me the ER because I was dancing to that. So absolutely one of my favorite songs. My favorite Cash Money is The Carter. When you hit play and the walk-in starts, young switching weed.
I came back around.
Get you weed. What? Come on now. That album is one of my favorite albums of all times. The Carter, his first one. Yes, I give you Carter 3 is when he became that superstar. He now became Universal. No pun intended there. I think they're on Universal, we're on Universal. But yes, but for me, the original Carter, argument,
That was
debate
it, huh?
me. That was it.
Joe, let me explain something to you, my good man. I lived and breathed Cash Money back in the day. There ain't an album I don't know from front to back, word for word, bar for bar, line for line, beat for beat. I'm talking Chopper City in the Ghetto. I'm talking Big Timers, I Got That Work. I'm talking How You Love That. I'm talking 400 Degrees. I'm talking everything, man. So for me, when I saw your question, I was like, oh, this is easy for me, all of it. Checkmate, BG, Turk,
All of them.
10.
Hey.
I go so far.
10, yes.
Mac, I go so far.
That album was fire. Yo. I don't know if you want
me
me to have them peek behind the curtain, but because this is your business, do you want people to know what your name is?
Oh, they ain't got to know that. They ain't got to know that. You know what I'm saying? We probably retired that. Maybe we retire that. We'll bring it back one day. We'll see how it is. But yeah, man, like Cash Money was it for me. It was like Cash Money, everything. And then when that happened, we was on that for years. And then 50 came. I mean, I was a big Jay-Z fan. I think we all like Jay. We all like DMX. And then G-Unit took over for me. And then 50 was that guy for me. But yeah, man, Cash Money, I think is still underrated for what they did. We know Baby got some shady business practices from what we've heard, even though I don't know if he's lost many times. I think he lost against Wayne in court. Maybe the only one he lost against.
No, he lost against producer Manny Fresh, remember?
Oh, yeah. And I found out that Pharrell never got paid for What Happened to That Boy beat, and that's where the Pusha T beef started. Crazy.
Yo.
Craziness.
You know, I was a Rough Riders in Rockefeller guy back then.
Man,
they were fire.
Dude.
They were fire too. And he had
Rough
Pitbull in a
Riders.
skirt. Come on now. I'm about to get over here.
What was that song called? Drag On. The big one.
I just called it Drag On.
The one that had the summer on lock. Yeah, what was that song called? With Juvie. Juvie was actually in it.
Too far back. All
right, man. See, now I gotta go.
I was rapping it for you. I don't know the words.
That ain't helping.
I don't know lyrics and songs. I just have
Never.
and then I try to make it fit. And I think I said this before on the pod, so now I'm becoming that old
Down
lady.
bottom, baby.
Down bottom.
That's what it is. Down bottom.
Just one quick thing, and I'll let you finish that. I thought, and Matt clowned me when Lil' Kim was rapping and she was talking about baguettes. So I thought she was talking about a baguette, like a French bread. So I'm like, man, what? This just doesn't make sense. But I guess she is bougie, right? So she's a little uppity. Not until I was like 20 years old and I realized, because I had a baguette ring. I'm like, my God, she meant diamonds, not French bread. Damn.
God bless.
I gotta use the bathroom. I think
you got something about the AEW contract you want to hit?
Yeah, one last thing before we write off. Your boy Uncle Dave was at it again.
Oh God.
Yep, he's at it again. So, but he reports that Swerve Strickland's new AEW deal is believed to be among the biggest deals in pro wrestling, and said to be in the same page range as Okada and Mercedes Moné. WWE feels that Swerve's new high-paying AEW contract is bad for business. It's so far over what the WWE will perceive as market value. I don't know about that, about what they perceive to be over market value, but I want to say congratulations to Swerve. Get your bag, baby.
Absolutely.
Get that money.
Yep. 100%.
When I thought about it, I'm like, man, does he have potentially the biggest singles contract for a black wrestler? Is he like the highest paid? Is he potentially the highest paid black wrestler?
If we believe what he just said, yes, 100%. Now, but I don't believe the part of WWE thinks is bad for. But I don't. Who the hell told Dave? Who called Dave?
Yeah,
it was like, you know what, Dave, man, that contract Swerve just signed, man, that's bad for business.
But you know, Dave actually been getting a lot of flack. He's been getting a lot of flack because I think recently, you probably saw it, but I know you did. He was reporting something about AEW's revenue or something like that, and there's like a graph that it was a screenshot from like a Discord on some website, and then Dave reported it as like fact that he saw, and probably somebody maybe gave him that information, maybe somebody he trusted. But I feel like people are kind of at this point are giving Dave information and he's not fact checking stuff. But to me, like, look, if Swerve got a bag, I'm all for that. Swerve got his bag. Mercedes got a bag, right? So AEW is paying black talent, and I'm all for that, right? There's rumors that we might get a Hurt Business being reformed to AEW. If that's the case, I'm all down for AEW, y'all. All right, look, they paying the brothers and sisters. If we get the Hurt Business back, like last Dynamite, the show actually wasn't that bad. There was some things you go, but the show overall.
Talking about Dynamite, right?
Dynamite, yeah.
Dude, I thought Dynamite was really good, man. Now, yes, to your point, there was something that I was like, okay, hell no. In regards to just, once again, like how they do business, right? Like Aubrey stepping over my man's leg to call for the bell, but his leg is literally on the rope. Like that kind of stuff.
Let me ask y'all a question. I always forget to ask y'all about. Let's just take a pause right now. We can wrap it up on that if y'all want to. What do y'all think about Aubrey, man? Because like, Aubrey, man, she's been getting flack online for years that she's in the shots too much. Her face is too much. She's doing way too much to stand out. And referees aren't supposed to be standing out as much. She's like, I don't pay attention to notice her in matches. But like that was like that was horrible. When she stepped over that leg, like where are you at? Where y'all at with Aubrey right now?
I don't think it's an Aubrey problem. I think it's the referee and AEW problem. Is what it is. They just miss things like that. Like, and if you care about, and that's the other thing too, because we're talking about referees. Hey, Gunther and Orton, you got to find a better way to be out the ring for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And
besides having the referees just say Charles Robinson is allowing it to go because it's a championship. Nah, man, I don't want to hear that. Y'all was out there for way too long. Figure it out. Orton, you are a genius when it comes to this business. Figure out a way to get that count to be broken up or for something to happen with the ref where he's not counting you out. But I wanted to make that call because we talk about AEW a lot when it comes like that. We can't let WWE just go away. But yeah, I think it's just an AEW referee problem, man. Like they allow
You don't think she stands out too much though? You think with her facial expressions and her getting in her facing shots?
No, because if I wanted, because if that was the case, then I would just tell anybody to pay attention to Charles Robinson when he referees. Like every move, Charles is selling on his face. Now, yeah, he's not in the shot, anything face to face, and then you got the referee right there. It's not that, but if you wanted, you wanted to go there, you could go there. So no, I don't have a problem with her doing that. I just have a problem with just how they're only there to count to 3. It feels like they are not there to do anything else but that, and I don't like that.
I'm partial because I used to be a part of AEW Hills, and she was one of the founders with Brandy. And so I got to get to know her just a little bit. I didn't get to know her, but I was able to kind of see her outside of it. So she's such a warm, beautiful person. As far as being in all the shots and it being about her, like I hate that people say that just because unless the wrestlers themselves have a problem with it, like get over yourself. I think that it's a woman thing, and that's my feminist side coming out of me. Like if it was to Matt's point, we got Charles over there selling every single thing. If it wasn't a woman, will we even have the same problem here? But I don't want to debate that right now, even though that's kind of what I feel it is about, that Aubrey is getting over and she's a woman. But overall, if the wrestlers don't have a problem with it, why would I? So for me, I think she does a great job. I think she brings excitement to it. I was happy that the fact that we knew her name. Then a couple years later, we start seeing WWE start putting actual first and last names to the referees that's in the ring. I think that it's completely fine with me. And only if a wrestler comes and says that she's taking our light, she's taking our spot, I don't have a say.
Yeah,
that's all we got. Well, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I don't notice her, honestly. Like, it's kind of like, that's not one of the things I know. Like when we watch the shows, like you talk about, like I can't pay attention to the commentary. I don't watch the matches. I sure ain't checking for Aubrey. But when I look at when you look at those videos of her like in the moment, like when you actually watch her in these videos, like yeah, she doing. And she's like right in the thick of it, like right. She's like, she's like, do you give up? She be in there, man. Like you talk about Charles and them, like Charles be all the way in he be almost outside the damn ring half the time doing what he doing, right? Like like Charles ain't nowhere near like the match when it happens, like
yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with it. I don't notice it. Like I don't. When I'm watching the match, I'm watching the match. I don't pay attention to nothing. I got tunnel vision. I'm just focusing on wrestlers. So no, I'm good.
Two quick things. One, I'm down for everybody and anybody to get their money. As much as I love wrestling, there is no wrestling without wrestlers. I don't care who you are. I want you to get paid top dollar for putting your body and your life on the line every single time you're out there for our enjoyment. That's number one. Number two, E, to your point about Dynamite, I really enjoyed Dynamite on Wednesday, and I wanted to just shout out MJF because him turning off the American gimmick, I thought was genius. And a lot of times, I feel like AEW doesn't patch the holes, right? Where he would have came out Wednesday, had an issue with Danny Garcia, and then he doesn't say anything about it. He was just this American champion for the last 30 days. For him to tie up, look, I put on for y'all. And for y'all not to have my back, I'm never representing America again. I thought it was incredible. I was like, that's fantastic, man. Yep. That he figured out a way to, all right, we're going to pump up this American gimmick, give as much heat to Ospreay, so when he wins it, and then here's my out. Right to Garcia. I thought that was really, really good. So I do want to shout him out for that. But all out looks
Garcia,
great, man.
Garcia, please stop yelling in the microphone like that, man.
You spitting? You don't like that? He had to show the passion.
He had to stop yelling in that microphone, man. He was screaming in that mic, man. I mean,
he had to show the passion. Yeah, let's get out of here. I am excited to. I'm still gonna try to get to All Out, so I think we'll be doing that on Saturday night. We are recording this.
Do they have a pre-deposit for a pre-deposit? No.
Unless you paying for it, you need to relax. You over there putting $2 together. Like, what the hell is happening?
And these are your $2.
I bet they are. We're right now we're recording during NXT No Mercy, so we haven't seen anything yet. We will discuss what may happen. If I think is going to happen, I think we're going to get a debut.
Hey, I've
tonight.
seen quite a few, man. It's been a hell of a card so far, man.
All right, so I'm going to watch this as soon as we get done recording. I'm going to watch that. So we'll talk about that on Thursday's show. Of course, we're going to talk about Raw, and we're going to preview All Out because All Out is shaping up to be a pretty damn good show from AEW this weekend. So we got a lot for you guys. Happy NFL opening week for everybody who celebrates. All right, our Lions will be going to Super Bowl this year. I came out here last year and told y'all I bet that they were winning the division. That's happening. I'm not going as far as to say I'm betting they're going to win a Super Bowl yet. I got to still figure out some things, but it's coming. It's happening. So that's what we got. Love y'all. Follow us on Twitter. Y'all know where we are. That's FNW. YouTube, that's Freaking Wrestling. And then we still got to figure out Instagram. Thank y'all for listening. I'll let y'all on the next one.